Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Shantal and happy 2026. If you are thinking about getting your credentials evaluated through ECE, this video is for you. I'm going to walk you through everything you need before you even start your ECE transcript evaluation. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what documents, forms, and information you need and how to get them and even estimate the cost so there are no surprises. This will save you time, money, and frustration. You can do it yourself without any agent. Everything I will mention here today, I will walk you through how to do it. Okay, so let's dive into it. Number one, you will need an ECE account. Number two, you will need to know the type of report that you need. Number three, you will need required documents. Number four, you will need to be able to send your transcript to ECE. If you're sending that transcript physically, you will need number five, a document matching form. Number six, you will need your exam results, right, to send those to ECE as well. Number seven, you will need some money for the fees when paying for the ECE application. So let's break each of these down. So number one, how to create your ECE account. I have a video here that you can watch to see how to create an account. It is pretty simple. I will link this video in the description or in the pinned comment. Go ahead and watch that after this video. How to create your account, simple and easy, and how to verify your email to start your application. Number two, let's move into the type of report you will need and how to determine what you will use for your application. The first thing to do is to determine which report you need. Let's take a look at some of the data. The course by course is ECE's number one report ordered by 69% of their customers. However, we will confirm the required report you need for your institution when you're trying to study abroad. All right? Since as we're looking at USA, let's look at the USA reports. These are the different type of reports. First, you have course by course with ECE insignia and also course by course by itself. The difference is with the insignia, they give you a digital badge and certificate, and you only pay $20 per report copies. Compared to the course by course itself, you do not get that digital badge and certificate, and the report copies are $30 each, right? When applying to schools and when trying to get accepted into a US college, on your evaluation, it is not required that you have a digital badge and certificate. So when comparing these two, I would say go with the course by course for $199, right? Because what you actually need is these that are listed here, especially that course list for university level credentials with credits and grades, because this breaks down all the list of courses you took, the credits you gained, and the grades you got, which is exactly what the university is looking for. Also, the other key features, it lists your country of study, it identifies your foreign institution, the dates of attendance, credential received, and what's its equivalency in the US. That is important. Also, your GPA, right? Let's look at the other report types. You have general with GPA with the ECE insignia and general with GPA, right? With these, the differences are the same thing here. They give you a digital badge and a certificate along with $20 per report copies compared to the general with GPA without those two. All right, so I would say you would go with the general with GPA as well if you're looking to use this choice. However, when applying to universities in the US, trying to get accepted into a college, right? You're trying to come here to do a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or PhD, you would go with the course by course. because you want your list of courses and your grades and your credits to be listed. If you go with any of these options here, it will only show your GPA, and that is not what we are looking for. The institutions want to see what courses you have done, right? All right, let's look at the other ones down here. You have general with ECE insignia and general without the insignia. So you don't get the digital badge and certificate, and you get $20 per report copies with the insignia and $30 with the general. Also, this does not give you enough information for a school to decide whether or not they can accept you. This only shows you the country of attendance, identify your foreign institution, date of attendance, credential received, and US equivalency. These would be good for people trying to do something else, which is not trying to get into schools in the US. If you're trying to get into school in the US, the best option for you, as I mentioned, is the course by course evaluation. Let's take a look at a sample, right? To see exactly what we're looking at. So this is the report here. It shows your name, your date of birth, your reference number, purpose, further education. It has the US equivalent summary here as like maybe a high school diploma. If this is your high school transcript, right? Or if this is your exam results. Normally your exam results is the one that they use to evaluate for your high school diploma. All right, what else? It shows you your GPA, it shows you all your courses, your US credits that's equivalent to what you did, and the US grades equivalent to what you did as well. So this is what you are looking for when you are trying to do your ECE report, this course by course evaluation. Let's take a look at, for example, the general with GPA, right? This is what this will look like here. Further education, US equivalent, and it will only list a few things here, right? Country, date, admission requirement, and only your GPA, right? However, sometimes students would be like, I don't have the money, I prefer to do the cheapest one. However, you would have to confirm with your institution if they're willing to take that report over the other report. You can always download a copy of the sample and ask them if that would work. You never know, nothing try, nothing done. However, I would always recommend that course by course because I know that will give you the best value or the best outcomes with the institution. Number 3, the next thing you will need are the documents that you require to submit to ECE. So once you're on the website, you would go to that section, document requirements. So to know the documents you need to know the country you studied in. So you would find the country you studied in and you would review the documents you need. So let me look for Jamaica, right? And then hit go. This will open up that page you need. So based on your country, select your country. You will see some requirements here. So let's go over them one by one. Say paper documents. It's saying can be submitted to ECE either by the applicant or directly by the issuing body. What does this mean? So if you have a physical copy of your transcript, right? This one has to be certified by your school, like sealed in an envelope, which is like a physical copy of any documents you receive from your school. And you can send this directly to ECE, right? Which means once they get this envelope, it is coming from you, but it is sealed in an envelope from your school. That is what that means there. It does not mean that you can just get a copy of the transcript from your house and send that to ECE. No, it has to be an original document from your institution that is sealed in an envelope. You can mail this to ECE yourself. Say, for example, you went to your school, you requested a copy of your transcript, and you said, hey, put this transcript in a sealed envelope that I can send to ECE, and they will do that for you. Also, the issuing body, say for example, the school you requested the transcript from, they could be the one sending that transcript to ECE as well, and they will also have that transcript in a sealed envelope addressing that to ECE. However, anytime you are sending any physical documents to ECE, you would include the document matching form that I mentioned in all the envelopes. So if you're sending an envelope to ECE, you're going to print that document matching form from ECE. Once you have completed your application, they will provide you with that document matching form. You will print that and include that in the envelope so that they can match your documents to your application, right? So hopefully we get this. And it is saying, please do not send multiple copies of the same document. So when it comes to electronic documents, you will need to use a trusted electronic document service to send that transcript. That's the number one method that they accept. And you can view the list of electronic document services that you can use. This method is not for students to send their transcript or documents to ECE directly. This is for your school, right? Your institution can also send a secure electronic document directly via their email at ecemail@ece.org from their institutional portal or their official publicly verifiable email address, right? So that ECE can confirm it's coming from a trusted source, right? So that's the second method. Either physically you mail it via UPS or so forth, or secondly, you can send that to the email. That's through your institution, right? Say, for example, Jamaica, if you are looking to get into college, normally you would only need your results, your CXC results, right? And you can send these through Overseas Examinations Council. You would go to their Kingston office in person, request your CXC results, and pay the fee for them to send it to ECE. Also, you could go on the cxc.org website and request your transcript online from CXC instead of going to the Overseas Examinations Council, and all that can be done online with CXC, and they charge like $50. If you go to Kingston as well, they will also charge you a fee to send that, so it will amount to the same. All right, normally with university, that means you're sending your degree or your diploma for them to evaluate. This would mean you're trying to get a second degree or you're trying to do a master's. Also, if you graduated, you will get a certificate showing that you have graduated high school. ECE will request that as well on the application, and that you can upload yourself, right? No need for the school to send that for you. All right, that's about it right here. Say, for example, you're not from Jamaica and you are from, say, for example, Kenya, right? Go. Or any other country, this is how you would review. I have reviewed some of the other countries as well, including India and so forth. I have noticed that the procedures are almost the same when it comes to the paper documents and the electronic documents. The only difference is the type of electronic document services that you use. So the explanation is the same, right? Electronic documents, you see, it is the same as what we discussed before. The only difference here as well is the type of high school documents or college documents you will send, right? So for Kenya, you need to send your examination from KNEC, right, or KCSE, so that they can evaluate it, right? So take a look on your country and to see what you require. All right, so let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is your transcript. When completing an ECE evaluation, you do not need your high school transcript. All they need is your high school examination results. The exam that you did, they need the result. They will use that result to evaluate your grades and the GPA that you got, right? So some students would still send their high school transcript in. That is not a problem. They will still evaluate your high school transcript if you send it in. However, the report will have 2 different sections. It will have your high school transcript section with your grades and your GPA, and it will have the section for your results, and it would show a separate GPA for your examination results. So yes, you can send it in, and no, it is not required. The last thing on our list is the money for the fees. When looking at the ECE reports, you see the different fees. Course by course with ECE insignia, $244. Course by itself, $199. The one with GPA insignia is $180. The general with GPA by itself is $135, and these are US dollars, right? And if we look at the general, it is $155 with the insignia, and then the general by itself is $110 US dollars. So when we're looking at fees or the cost breakdown, expect to pay more than what is reflected here. When you are completing the application, there will be additional fees such as getting that mandatory report copy to yourself. You will pay the minimum of $15 to get that report copy to yourself. You will pay $30 each to send a report copy to a school. So the cost will add up depending on the services you will use. For example, if you want to do express delivery, that's an additional cost, right? So it depends on what you need in your application that it will give you a final cost. So go ahead, start completing your application, and then you will see the final cost. And you don't have to check out. You will still be able to see what your final cost is before you check out. So let's recap some of the stuff that we did here today. So what we did so far is I've showed you the video that you can watch on how to create your ECE account. I have went through the type of report you need, the required documents you need, your transcript, right? I have went through the document matching form. I have showed you that when you're sending physical documents, that's when you need to include the document matching form. I've also gone over the exam results, right? And then the money for the fees, right? So if you do have any questions, ask them below. Until next time, stay blessed and keep pursuing your dreams.